Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Toasty Gamer Boutique, and lucky enough for me today, I am joined by FOXY.
Hey, everybody, this is FOXY.
Hey, thanks so much for joining me. So today we're going to be talking about the first episode of Season 40 Survivor, Winners at War. Give us a quick background about your Survivor history.
Well, the interesting thing is I'm not a huge fan like you are, Toasty, of Survivor. I did watch the first couple seasons when I was a kid. And after that, I haven't watched it since I've started watching with you again. So I've seen the first couple seasons and the last couple seasons.
Yeah. And I think on one of my live streams, I mentioned you had been watching for a season and a half. But what I meant to say was a year and a half. So you've actually seen the last 3 seasons of Survivor. So you're not completely in the dark. You've got a little bit of background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because a lot of the old players are coming back. So the first few players that were on Survivor, I'm actually getting to see now play in this brand new season.
Yeah, super interesting. The episode starts off, we've got 2 boats approaching a small island where you can see Jeff Probst waiting. They start the season off with a cheers, and then they draw buffs.
Hold up about that cheers, because they take their glasses and they throw them out into the middle of nowhere on the island. I'm like, I hope someone went and picked that up after.
Oh, there's got to be a crew member that goes back to give the green thumb, but hopefully, yeah. Watching you, CBS. Just kidding. Okay. But yeah, so, they draw buffs. Speaking of previous contestants, Rob and Amber are separated. You saw the season where they actually got engaged.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Interesting, Natalie and Jeremy, who had played together on San Juan del Sur, the season that Natalie won, they end up being on the same tribe as well, which is definitely a strong alliance there.
Another interesting thing is that Sandra and Rob are separated, and we learn in this episode that there's a little bit of beef between the two of them.
Yeah. We saw Sandra. She mentioned that Rob never told her during season 39, Island of the Idols, Season of the Idols, that he was going to be playing, and apparently he was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to be playing, I'd never play again. And so she's pissed. She's been a villain in the past, and she's definitely got a fury this season. So, she's pissed at Rob, and Rob has got Amber, so she's like, by association, pissed at Amber.
I think it's really interesting because I never saw Sandra play. I only saw her in the last season. And she was so helpful and nice and kind to all the players. And now I'm seeing her as a player herself. And I'm like, oh my God, she calls herself the queen. And because that's how she's known.
Yeah.
I get it. But she's intense.
Yeah, no, I'm scared of her. And she's on the other side of the screen. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how it plays out in season 40.
Oh, for sure, yeah. We see the 2 tribes separate. They go straight into a challenge, and the challenge is for immunity, fire in the form of flint, a map to their new home with some rice. So, DeCall wins the first challenge.
Challenge, yeah.
Yeah. And so Jess says there's a tribal council, but it's not tonight. It's going to be tomorrow night. So they've got 2 days of scheming to do.
Hey, the whole scheming thing is insane. It's really interesting to see how the newer players are really used to things going super fast and everyone negotiating right away, and how the older players are like, whoa, what's going on? They feel like they have to play for 10 people. They need to be constantly on their toes.
Yeah.
But it's also really interesting how Rob and what's her name?
Poverty.
How they play that out. That whole...
Yeah, that was intense.
Awesome.
Yeah. So speaking of Rob and Poverty, their team loses. So now, of course you'd think, okay, Rob, Poverty, epic players from the past, you think they're going to be primary targets number 1. And not so much. Adam and Denise actually separate from the tribe, going to find the, air quotes, water well. Whether there was strategic stuff on the way or not, it's kind of a Survivor no-no, especially, they're all winners. They've all won one season before. They should know not to branch away. Even Tony jokes about how he's not running off like a crazy man.
Going to look for idols.
Yeah, exactly. So, off the bat, Adam, Denise, they get kind of a, bad rep. But, you can't forget that Natalie and Jeremy play together on San Juan del Sur. So they already have a strong alliance. They played together in that season in an alliance. And there's definitely heat on them. It's kind of chaos for the first day. The second day is still chaos. Ben is just like pedaling to keep up with all the strategy going on. And you know, you've got Boston Rob being like, who said that? Who said this? And even Ben is just so like, oh my gosh, I'm starstruck. Like, and so much is going on. Even he's in the newer seasons that have super strategy. He's still having trouble keeping up with the old school players, which is impressive.
But they won in the end because they don't get voted off. I think it's insane how they played that and how they didn't, like, they totally switched. It would have been them. It would have been Rob.
Oh, yeah.
But they completely flipped the situation really smoothly. That was really cool.
Yeah. And, for those people that saw my first prediction for winners, well, I was voting for Natalie, and she was the first one voted off. So, I mean, it just proves how much of a threat she is. Kind of a bummer, of course, but she's not out of the game. There is edge of extinction, okay? So, you never know. Of course, kind of a bummer, but I still have faith in her, and, I mean, she's looking good. Like, she's in shape. She's gonna be fine on Island of Extinction, or Edge of Extinction.
Speaking of the Edge of Extinction, I think it's really cool that they brought that back. And then there's this new thing called tokens.
Oh, yeah, the fire tokens. We have to talk about that. Fire tokens. It's an in-game currency, and each player gets one token to start off with. They see that when they arrive to their new home, their shelter. You can either exchange it for food, comfort, or an advantage. You know, comfort, 2 pillows, 2 blankets for 4 tokens, or a tarp for 5 tokens. An advantage in the game is an advantage in the challenge, 4 tokens. At this point in the game, they either have to pull together their tokens. Can they even pull together their tokens?
Probably.
So,
to be able to buy stuff in common.
Oh, yeah.
That makes sense, because, like, no one's going to buy a bag of beans by themselves and then eat it by themselves. That'd look really bad.
Yeah, that food choice was kind of silly, but yeah, for sure.
Bag of small beans.
Yes. In the food choices, you had coffee and pastries, 3 tokens, small bag of beans, 4 tokens, and a regular bag of rice for 5 tokens.
Yeah.
So, definitely, I mean, interesting, but I don't think this is where the fire tokens are going to come into play. It's coming up in the game. They've only started talking about it, you know.
I think it's going to have to do with, like, idols and stuff like that. And, like, this whole bequeath. Like, let's talk about the word bequeath.
So, if they get voted out of the game, okay, they have to give their tokens to any player of their choice.
Take note of the word give.
Or bequeath their tokens to any person of their choice. Nat, unfortunately, gets voted out. Of course, no surprise, she gives her token to Jeremy. You know, her bud. Then, a little later on, which is super interesting, Natalie, still on the edge of extinction, she actually gets an option. She has an idol which she can send to one player of her choice. And that player has the option to buy the idol for 1 token.
And she decides to send it to
Sandra.
the queen.
Oh, no.
Watch out.
Yeah, so not that she needed any extra help in the game, but definitely, like, you know, gets her on her side. If Natalie comes back, she will definitely want to have Sandra on her side. I wouldn't want to have Sandra pissed at her. Each tribe has seen Jeff in tribal council once. The first vote was in between, as we spoke earlier, Adam, Denise, Natalie, and Jeremy. Second vote, well, you've got Sandra, who's throwing out Amber's name because she's super pissed at Rob, and she's like, oh, how am I going to make Rob suffer? I'm going to get his girl.
Yeah.
So now she's pissed.
I think it's really interesting that in this episode, the older players controlled everything.
Oh,
yeah.
It's out of this world.
Yeah.
So, there, you have, really, Sandra kind of leading everything, this way. And she really has a way of talking, of convincing people. It was scary.
Mm-hmm. Like Rob, too. Like, there's both of them.
Yeah.
They're power players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Amber's on that team. I mean, she doesn't have much chance. So Sandra uses, I forgot this in my notes earlier. Sandra uses the Poker Alliance theory.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
the Poker Alliance, like a year or two ago, I'm not too sure how long ago, there was a poker game and there were 3 Survivor players. Boston Rob, Tyson, and Kim. Now, even though they say that alliance, it was just one poker game, they don't really know each other. During the poker game, Tyson was like, hey, best Survivor alliance ever as a joke. And now comes to bite him in the butt. It has put a target on them. So Sandra uses that to her advantage, puts the target on Amber, Rob's girl, who is part of the Poker Alliance. And, it's...
And votes her off.
Yeah, I mean, she's just gone.
That's it.
And so she has the immunity that Natalie hooked her up with. She doesn't even need it. No. It's nuts. Yeah. Sophie, Sarah, and Tony were on the outs of that vote. So it could be interesting to see where it goes from there.
Okay, Toasty, now I have a question for you.
Hit me.
Who is your favorite player now that Natalie's got voted out? And I know she's on the Island of Extinction, and she could still come back in, but like, who are you cheering for?
Okay, well, I'm indecisive. I've got a couple of favorite players. People I'd love to see win the game. There's Sophie, Sarah, Jeremy, Ben, Yul. It's hard to choose in this amazing cast of players. Who would I like to see win the game? Well, if Natalie's out, which I don't count her just yet, I think I'd want Sophie to take it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, we were watching it together, and I said, like, I'd never seen her play before. I'd never seen her before. Yeah. So, like, she made me think of, like, someone who would have been on the Davids of the David and Goliath. Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. She's kind of nerdy, but, yeah, I think she's cool. I think her alliance with Yule is going to be really good, because the both of them seem very, how do you say fidèle?
Loyal.
They seem very loyal. Like, they're going to stick together, and, yeah, they'll be a good alliance.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, Foxy, who do you think is going to take the win for this season?
Seriously, I would love... I'm really excited to see how it's going to play out between the older players. Because there's definitely something that's going to happen. Either they're going to get voted off right at the beginning and they're not going to be there anymore. Or they're going to stick until the end because they're such good players and they're going to keep it in their favor. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. I have a thing for Rob. I saw him the first season, and him and Amber was super cool, super cute. So like, yeah, it was like my first seasons of Survivor. So yeah, I'd like to see them get to the end for sure.
Yeah. He's definitely beast mode. Like, if you watch during the challenge, okay, they had to get over this spinning log type of contraction.
Everyone.
He was like slingshotting like the girls over it, They didn't even touch the log. They just flew over it. So he is definitely strong, even though he's aged a little bit from the earlier seasons. He's still in beast mode.
Yeah, totally. Like, it's really cool to watch him play. I think I saw a season with Yule. I'm not sure. It was a long time ago. But he seems like a really cool, like, loyal guy too.
Yeah, down to earth, good values, good morals.
Yeah, I like that kind of player as opposed to Sandra, who, hey, that's insane. Even Poverty, because like I've seen a couple of clips with you about how she played in the past. Oh my goodness! But it's really cool because they've all kind of like grown up, matured. Like, she's got kids now. Like, I don't think she's gonna play the season the same way, which is gonna be really interesting to watch. Like, probably not like vicious, flirty kind of. Like, that's not. It
was definitely, we were talking about during the episode how interesting it was to see the evolution of all these players.
Of course. Even the guy who lived off the $1 million with his girls.
Oh yeah, Tyson.
Super cute.
Yeah, super adorable. Like, he made, what was it, a daisy chain, and they were talking about how they left calendars for their kids and to count down the days.
Well, if you guys are as excited as us about this current Survivor season, definitely comment below who your favorite players are.
Oh yeah, let us know what's going on. Hit us up in the comments below. Predictions, thoughts, where do you think these fire tokens are gonna go? We're stoked. Hope you are as well.
Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hey, thank you so much, Foxy, for joining me. I hope maybe you'll be joining me for some future Survivor videos.
Hopefully I will.
Yeah. And yeah, don't forget to let us know what's going on in the comments below, and stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to subscribe. Thanks again. Peace.